Thank you for joining with me. We are in A Course in Miracles. This is the combined volume by the Foundation for Inner Peace. Today we are on Chapter 29, The Awakening, Section 1, The Closing of the Gap. There is no time, no place, no state where God is absent. There is nothing to be feared. There is no way in which a gap could be conceived of in the wholeness that is His. The compromise the least and littlest gap would represent in His eternal love is quite impossible, for it would mean His love could harbor just a hint of hate. His gentleness turns sometimes to attack, and His eternal patience sometimes fail. All this do you believe when you perceive a gap between your brother and yourself. How could you trust him then? For he must be deceptive in his love. Be wary then. Let him not come too close and leave a gap between you and his love, through which you can escape if there be need for you to flee. Here is the fear of God most plainly seen, for love is treacherous to those who fear, since fear and hate can never be apart. No one who hates but is afraid of love, and therefore he must be afraid of God. Certain it is he knows not what love means. He fears to love and loves to hate, and so he thinks that love is fearful. Hate is love. This is the consequence the little gap must bring to those who cherish it and think that it is their salvation and their hope. The fear of God, the greatest obstacle that peace must flow across, has not yet gone. The rest are past, but this one still remains to block your path and make the way to light seem dark and fearful, perilous and bleak. You had decided that your brother is your enemy. Sometimes a friend, perhaps, provided that your separate interests made your friendship possible a little while, but not without a gap perceived between you and him, lest he turn again into enemy. Let him come close to you, and you jumped back. As you approached, did he but instantly withdraw. A cautious friendship, and limited in scope and carefully restricted in amount, became the treaty that you had made with him. Thus you and your brother but shared a qualified entente, in which a clause of separation was a point you both agreed to keep intact. And violating this was thought to be a breach of treaty, not to be allowed. The gap between you and your brother is not one of space between two separate bodies, and this but seems to be dividing off your separate minds. It is the symbol of a promise made to meet when you prefer, and separate till you and he elect to meet again. And when your bodies seem to get in touch and thereby signify a meeting place to join. Let me repeat that. And then your bodies seem to get in touch and thereby signify a meeting place to join. But always it is possible for you and him to go your separate ways. Conditional upon the right to separate, will you and he agree to meet from time to time and keep apart in intervals of separation, which do protect you from the sacrifice of love. The body saves you, for it gets away from total sacrifice and gives you the time in which to build again your separate self, which you truly believe diminishes as you and your brother meet. The body saves you, for it gets away from total sacrifice and gives you the time in which to build again your separate self, which you truly believe diminishes as you and your brother meet. Okay, there we go. I thank you so much for joining with me today in Chapter 29, The Awakening. This is Section 1, The Closing of the Gap, and we just read paragraphs 1 through 4. Tomorrow we will pick up paragraphs 5 through 9. I love you. Have a beautiful day, and thank you for joining with me.